Welcome back to ChessDNA, and in this video I'm going to review a game submitted by one of my subscribers as well as a student. So if you're watching this right now, what you can do is take this opportunity for yourself to get one of your games reviewed by me on the channel. Simply copy the PGN or the URL of your game and paste it in the comments of this video. I'll go through all the games you guys post in the comments, and we'll select the one I'll personally find to be the most instructive for the audience, and we'll create a review for that game for my next video. So don't miss this opportunity, guys. Maybe I get 0 comments and I have to be embarrassed, but yeah, it's a golden opportunity for you guys to get your games reviewed by me, and you can definitely get a ton of great insights on your play style and your weaknesses, like you're going to see in this game that one of my students submitted. So let's dive right into the game. By the way, Mudassir Hashmi is 2047 rated. He's playing against an opponent with a very difficult username, 2074 rated. But Mudassir, I have to give him a huge shout out, was 1447 a couple of months ago. And he's been playing from I don't know, maybe a couple of years. But he reached 1447 in 2 years, and then he reached 2050, his peak rating, in just 2 months. So that's the dedication he's showing, all the hard work he's putting in. He's really ambitious, and a huge shout out to him. I have huge hopes for him. So keep going, buddy. Let's dive right into the game and see what the game has to offer. So e4 is what he played, his opponent, and he played c6. The CARO-KANN is learning Sicilian these days. He's investing his time to learn some of the main variations of Sicilian. But yeah, when you're playing against somebody super strong, you're just recently hit 2000 and you're playing somebody who's already at 2074, you want to trust your main weapon. So I believe that's why he chose CARO-KANN. d4, the main move against the CARO-KANN, you want to grab space in the center. And then d5, thematic, contesting the control that white is trying to have on the center simply by going d5. And here white goes e5, and that's called the advanced variation of the CARO-KANN. And it might look a little bit strange to you guys that, okay, doesn't this actually lose a tempo? Pawn moves to e4, and then instead of developing any piece or moving any other pawn, we're still moving the same pawn, one move again. So isn't that a loss of a tempo? It is, but it is also giving compensation in the form of space advantage to white. This e5 pawn is now controlling this d6 and f6, very crucial dark squares in our territory. So white does get some space advantage at the cost of a tempo. But because white has given up a tempo here by moving the pawn to e5, black can also afford to lose a tempo by moving that c pawn to c5 now and attack the base of the pawn chain that white has on d4. So white has several options here. They can go knight f3 here to defend the pawn. But c3 is a very, very solid way of playing. If you take the pawn on d4, they're going to recapture back with the c pawn and maintain their little pawn chain in the dark squares in the center. So here he plays knight c6, principled move. You're slowly starting to put a lot of pressure on d4 with queen b6 to follow, and a lot of these lines involve knight to e7 to f5. So main battleground is the d4 square in this variation. In basically a lot of variations in the French defense and the CARO-KANN, it could be the d4 battleground that is the center of attention for both armies. And yeah, here f4 is is a mistake. It's a ridiculous move. If you're 2074 rated player, you're playing against a very, very common CARO-KANN line, and you don't know what to do against this. You try to come up with your side line, which is definitely a mistake. And the thing is that black now does not have to do anything special here. Black already is slightly better, and will just play normal moves and continue to play normally, and simply will outplay you because you have just thrown the axe on your own foot here by putting the pawn right in the way of this dark square bishop. So this bishop is now a very unhappy piece. It sees this pawn on f4. It's like complaining to the king that what's going on? Who put that pawn right in my way? And you will see that this bishop was a terrible piece in the game. So captures, that's the right way to play. Bishop f5. Immediately developing the bishop before going e6, because we want to develop our king side, one of the main objectives of the opening, to get the king to safety, develop all your pieces, controlling the center. But if we go e6 here, we might be actually just making this light square bishop a terrible piece. So we want to put it to f5 first and then go e6 so that the bishop can come out to b4 or e7 and the knight can come out to e7 and we cast. So now knight f3, e6, so far so good, knight c3 and bishop b4. Well, bishop e7 is like a more usual square for the bishop. Bishop b4 is, I would say, slightly more active approach, but it's not the main move in this position. You usually want to just go bishop e7. Here they can just play a3 and you have to take the knight, or you can just maybe go all the way back to e7. But yeah, bishop e7 is also possible, but it's close to equality. But yeah, if you have said A, you have to say B. So you must actually take the knight here and give up the bishop pair already. So yeah, probably a dubious decision to put the bishop on b4. I would have put it on e7 instead of b4. But yeah, it's fine. Bishop b5, another active move by white. But really, bishop d3 was a better move because black's light square bishop is super active as well. And you want to counter that bishop. You don't want to go and pin that knight, which is not a great piece at all. It's not really doing anything just yet. There are pawns in his way, and okay, you do get to pin the knight, but what is the benefit you're getting to pin the knight? I don't understand. So a better move was bishop d3 in this position, trying to counter that strong bishop on f5 by black. Okay, knight to e7, very strong, just simply defending the knight with another knight. You could have also defended with queen, rook c8 or queen c7, I believe. But yeah, you just have to castle, so knight e7 is just the principal move in this position. White castle, black also castles, a3 now, tempting the bishop to take the knight. But yeah, the nature of the position is very closed, as you guys can see. So bishop pair actually does not really matter anymore. So you can simply give up your bishop for the knight, and then queen a5. I like that move because it attacks c3, attacks bishop. So forcing white to also give up the bishop pair immediately, or play like queen b3, which is also possible. But yeah, opponent actually grabbed the knight here, knight takes, bishop to d2. Again, black is just much better, as you guys can see, because of this f4 move in the opening. Wastes a tempo, does nothing, it's a pawn move, and not only a pawn move, but also a pawn move that blocks this dark square bishop, makes it a terrible piece. So for that reason, black is just much better already, and black can already play for a win. Usually black just tries to play for equalization, but here, once your opponent makes like that kind of a mistake, you can already go to play for a win. You are just going to have more active pieces. You can play for initiative and simply take the advantage of the fact that your opponent made a mistake right in the opening and punish them for that. A rook c8 is a good move in this position. Putting the rook on the semi-open c file, you might want to double your rooks on the c file, so I like that. Queen e2, but really it's so hard to make any moves for white here. You want to put your rook on the b1 square on the semi-open file, but look at this excellent light square bishop on f5, watching out for b1 square so that you can't put the rook on b1. So queen e2 is a mistake. Instead, computer really prefers knight h4, trying to target that bishop. Then probably bishop d3, or yeah, bishop d3 is the move in this position. What you want to do, if you just continue to attack the bishop, then bishop e4, I guess, in this position. And if you continue to attack like this, or maybe you can even go rook g3, thinking that you have improved your rook. Yeah, you have, but still, the fact that this closed position, all your pawns and dark squares, just make this dark square bishop like the most terrible piece on the board. And here f5 is just going to be very strong. If you take en passant, the rook takes, and then we are just simply bringing the other rook into the f file as well. So if this pawn was still on like f2, let's say if it was not on f4, I mean, then the rook would not have been able to make that maneuver in the first place, but this bishop would have additionally like a very nice view of the h6 square at the very least. So you guys can see how it just makes the position so bad for white here. But yeah, knight h4 might have been the best try here, but queen e2, very natural. You just want to connect the rook, so why not queen e2? But here, he brought the queen all the way back to d8. Loses a little bit of advantage here. The right move was a very hard to find computer idea, although knight e7 to g6 is also a very viable idea. You can just go like that and it's also strong. But queen a6, guys, can you believe it? The computer recommends queen a6. I would have never thought about that move. I would have never played that move, because after queen takes, you double your pawns. Now they are weak pawns, probably in the endgame they're going to get picked off. But not just that, I mean, what do you gain out of it? That's the problem. That's the point. But like, you're still -1. That means black is still winning. And the thing that justifies this kind of queen exchange is that the B file is the file that opens up as a result of this whole sequence. And we will be the first ones to gain control of the B file by doubling our rooks on the B file. And why can't our opponent do that? Because of the reason that the bishop on f5 is beautifully controlling the square on b1. So you can't put the rook on b1. And this kind of thing requires a couple of moves. So what if like white tries to go rook a2 in this position? Well, here we can already go rook b8 and seize control of the open file already. And now we might actually just play rook to b3, maybe rook to b7, doubling the rooks like that. But yeah, rook b3, a more active approach to double the rooks. And black, you can see, now gains some kind of tangible advantage in the form of the open file. So queen a6, like what a ridiculous move. Like sometimes these kind of computer moves really impresses me. Like how can you think about such a move? So no blame to Mudassir here. He brought the queen back, which is a very decent move as well. But yeah, queen here was doing something. But yeah, probably he was scared of c4. Then the bishop was hitting the queen, so he brought it back. So safe move that does not lose advantage. So I appreciate it. Queen f2, f6, trying to open the position up, fighting this pawn that has advanced to e5, but it's slightly weakening. You're going to weaken your king side a little bit with that move. So simple here, you can also just go bishop d3, attack that rook, and then maybe knight a5, knight c4, put the bishop back to e4. And yeah, you're simply chilling with a better position, playing against that backward c pawn, doubling up on the c file should be your plan. So yeah, f6 was unnecessary, I believe. But anyways, queen g3, taking, and then knight a5, going for the c4 square here, or the b3 square also looks very tempting. Knight a4, attacking the bishop, bishop goes to e4, rooks got traded, rook to f1, attacking the queen, but now you win this pawn on a3. I think opponent completely missed that. The rook was defending the pawn. Now you're simply a pawn up, and the rest is just a matter of technique. Very carefully bring the queen back to defend checkmate. And now all you have to do is try to trade pieces. And I really like that here. He did not take the knight, although that's still winning. But just bring the rook to the open f file, like simply playing the best moves here. This is incredible. This is actually 2000 plus strength play by Mudassir. So really impressed by this. Queen b5, now infiltrating with a check, and then you just threaten to exchange everything here, and you're simply having not an ordinary extra pawn, but the outside pass pawn, which is a monster, really. So yeah, here opponent resigns because this pawn is just going towards promotion. Nobody can stop it. So very nice, precise game. I think accuracy was very high as well, about 93%. So yeah, I welcome this game, but in the comments, you guys can post your losses, maybe your games that you were not able to find a good plan, and I'll be able to give my recommendation and a suitable plan or a thinking methodology that will definitely be helpful for your improvement. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and wish you guys best of luck for your improvement in chess. And don't forget to post your games in the comments. Thank you so much, and see you in the next video.